Yeah.
Well, listen, no, thank you for those, man. Listen, I thank you for your honesty, man, and just being genuine and authentic, man. That's what I love about you, bro. Yo, I want to ask you a question about your pops, man. So, had your dad always been into sports cars?
Yeah, he was, and back in the day, in his day, like high school kids all had a job, he had a paper route, he'd always earning money and stuff. And of course, things are like a lot. Your dollar went way, way, way farther than it does now.
Indeed.
So like a new Corvette at the time was like probably the price of like the absolute cheapest car today, as far as relativity to buy, buying power. Yeah. So he saved up money and bought like a whatever it was, a 1969 Corvette or something, like when he was 18. But earned all the money himself from jobs and stuff, and so he was always ripping around with those. And then he got into Jeep 4x4 Jeeps, and so it's been like a super love of race cars and like badass rock crawler Jeeps. He's done like the Rubicon Trail, which is a world famous 4x4 trail, and now he lives in Arizona. He's retired, and he actually sold his Corvette after all these years. And he's always had one, like, but yeah, he sold it out. He sold it to a guy who's a collector and loves it and super stoked about it, because he had kind of a special one. But he got a badass rock crawling 4x4 Jeep now that is all decked out with fucking giant tires, and he's got all the bells and whistles and crazy radio that you can call around the world for help if you break down, and they're all busting out. He's got all these buddies that are like retired dudes that have a club,
and
they're like just every couple of days a week they go out and do an adventure like on these old stage roads and trails and stuff. And again, they live in Arizona, but Arizona is just full of like public land. There's just tons and tons of land. Most people don't realize like Arizona is fucking huge, and it's like I think the 5th largest state. So there's a lot of areas where you can go. And the Sonoran Desert where they're at it's a desert, but it's the wettest desert in North America. And so it's a lot greener than like the Mojave Desert in the Southern California looks, for example. Like there's a lot more plants and a lot more cactus and things, and it's pretty cool when you get out there. I really enjoy it when I go out with them.
No, listen, Pops is just cool, man. Mom and Dad, man, they're just awesome, And so, because I said that because I wanted to get into this question, if I remember correctly. Your dad told me a story where you got in that Z06 and hit that gas a little too hard. Did I remember that correctly, or am I tripping?
From when I was a little guy, or I guess I was driving, but it'll surprise you. Those things are fucking rockets with tires on them, basically. I've never had a car like that, and he never let me drive his car, so it wasn't like I'd ever tried it out. It's like James with the drum set, like he ain't touching it, You could look at it, and you could watch him play it or drive it,
Right.
But don't touch that shit,
No, so he never let you drive the car.
My dad didn't let me drive the Corvette. Like he did tell me how to drive, but we would drive this Jeep and like drive the regular kind of cars and stuff. He made me learn to drive on a 4x4 so that and also a stick shift, so that I kind of knew more of the technical vehicle, let's say.
Well, maybe he was saying he wouldn't let you get in there because he thought you were going to do something.
He had let me drive it later on, and I definitely got some surprises, but I don't know the specific one he's talking about. Might have scared him.
Man. Indeed. So, last little thing, how's your mom doing, man?
Mom's good. She's become an author. She wrote a book.
Really?
She wrote a fiction that she put out, and kind of a love romance comedy thing, definitely, it's her genre, not mine. But she's super into it. She took her time, and it's like a legit book. It's like she got it printed and everything and like published, and it's like 350 pages or something.
Really?
Like it's a full-on chunky book. So that's cool. I'll be honest, I haven't read it yet, but I need to do that. If she gives me too much crap, I go, "Oh, did you listen to the last ENDRAH record?" And she'll be all, "Yeah." Gotcha.
Awesome, man. Well, she's beautiful and amazing, man.
Yeah, no, we're just poking.
Relationship. Yes, indeed. So, last thing before we get to the music, how much do you remember about the Joel growing up, man? What do you remember about Big Brother, man? Being,
Yeah. he's 8 years older. So he was he was really there for me a lot when I was a little guy. Took care of me, a lot, helped my parents with it. He was kind of a mother hen in a good way. So, like the brother, and he whooped my ass and shit. And I got a little older, I probably deserved it most of the time. And he became a police officer when he was pretty, I don't know, like 19 or so. And I was about 11 or 12, and he's like 19, 20. So then he was in his best shape of his life. So he was feeling himself. And when you're 12, you're feeling yourself too. And so there were some clashes, Clash of the Titans there. But I got him back when I grew up. But we're cool, dude. We're cool. He's both his kids moved out, and they're both in relationships now, and so they're empty nest. So he's got more time to himself than I think he's ever had. So,
right.
So
they all just like you. They always enjoy he and Connie. They enjoy their lives, man, and that's a beautiful thing, man. To see them out
a lot of travel,
Yes, indeed. No doubt.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So,
indeed. So, when did that high of music first hit you? What was the first thing that made you just say, like, "Wow, man"?
I think like Headbangers Ball from MTV.
MTV,
like fuck, dude. Like I got to do this, dude. Like this is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And like I remember seeing like Metallica's was the year and a half of life of Metallica. I was pretty much, I was a little bit into it already, but again, my brother was like showing me Ozzy and Faith No More. We listened to Black Sabbath, Ozzy, Faith No More, Metallica. My dad was into hard rock, like Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. So it wasn't super foreign to me, but I definitely took the dive in, like with Megadeth. It was kind of the next heavier, than Slayer, then Pantera. Then you start finding like the fucking hardcore shit, like Obituary and Napalm Death and Cannibal Corpse and all this kind of stuff. But but before that, I think it was seeing the music videos of the live shows of these guys partying and like kicking ass and the people going nuts and tons of people and lights, camera action. I had to have it. So
indeed. No, love. So no, listen, that's real there, man.
Yeah.
So what was your first band, and have you always been a front man?
So it started, I got a guitar when I was 13 and didn't know how to play, anything. Got a Fender Stratocaster for Christmas, and like, a little practice amp, which I still have. And I wish I still had the guitar too. At one point, I'd kind of pawned it off because I just wasn't playing it and stuff. But I wish I just had it at this point because it wasn't worth selling in the long run. But whatever. And let's see. So, what was that? So I was 13 with the guitar, 14. Started being able to like riff a little bit, and learned a couple licks, that kind of thing. And mind you, back then, like there was no YouTube and stuff. It wasn't easy to like learn how to play. Like if you didn't know anybody, you had to like find a teacher or like, it was just difficult. And so I got a paper route to pay for guitar lessons at like 14. And I had this guitar teacher, this dude, Ray DeLatte. And he got trained by a guitar player that played with Rob Halford in the band Fight, which Rob Halford did after Judas Priest. So there was a connection and a name. This dude's a fucking shredder, dude. He's a shredder. He had a credible reach, with his fingers. He could go like 9 frets or something, with this kind of alien stretch. And he taught me a lot of cool stuff that I still play. Sometimes I pick the guitar up, some of the riffs that I learned from him. But he encouraged me, and taught me like the chords that I was trying to learn, and power chords and all the different, things, and the scales and some of the music theory. And we did lessons for a few years, and Vengeance ends up kind of forming in the middle of the lessons era. And basically, and none of us knew how to play for shit. So it was like, let's all learn together and be a band, like immediately. So we met James in middle school, who's our drummer, and this dude Matt Wren was playing guitar, and he was going to be the singer and guitar player, and then I was going to be the other guitar player, and then we had this other dude named Aaron Salmary that was playing bass for us. That was they're all high school kids,
right?
And like we formed that. Like this is like I think it was freshman year of high school. So like pretty young, dude. We had to like ask our parents for rides to band practice for years. Like we were little, like it was hard to like pick up my amp and shit, like little guys, and we would go up and rehearse at James's house. They live in the country, and they had a little shop like that they said if we cleaned out space we could use to play. So we essentially that's kind of where we were for until I went to college, and then we ended up starting to get practice studios more formal, kind of like in Oakland and different cities, Petaluma and stuff, California. But I've been in Vengeance first, and this entire time and never stopped, and that's our first rehearsal was November 6th, 1994.
Wow.
1994. So
Vengeance, I'm sorry because y'all Vengeance your first one, man. That's awesome. And it's still,
so we've been around
going strong. Yeah.
Long time,
Yes,
it's the same time I'm watching, Pig Walk come out by Stuck Mojo. And so to have that be full circle to me when I met you was, fucking amazing for me, because like, dude, I've been listening to these guys since I was the fucking beginning. Super cool, Yeah. And I was in a punk rock band in high school for a little while too, on and off, and that was fun. I just played guitar and did backup vocals, and then with Vengeance, playing guitar, and that dude Matt Wren, like a singer, guitar player, he was just doing like really bad. We were all terrible, dude. Like all of us were horrible, horrible. Our first demos are fucking terrible. Terrible. And we thought they were pretty good, at the time. Like, fucking good, like we're recording on like karaoke machines with fucking cassette tapes, and it was really bad. But he and the drummer James got in a fight, and James tends to fight with a lot of people, and he arguments, but this dude got butthurt. I finally, who knows what the fuck is about at this point. But he eventually kind of just started to kind of find his way out of the band, basically.
Right. Flat
and so I was like, fuck, I just want to be a guitar player. I wanted to be a guitar player. That was like, I want to play a heavy metal guitar player. And I grabbed the mic and tried to like, do what he was doing a little bit better or whatever, and you just that just kind of stayed for lack of metal musicians in our little town to play with. And so I started to develop into singing and playing guitar at the same time, which I did till 2001. And then I dropped the guitar at a show in Vegas in 2001. And I have never played guitar with Vengeance live since.
Wow, man. Wow. Indeed. So
during a show, like mid-show, I had my guitar, like I popped a spring, and it's like a string and a fuck it, dude, and grabbed the mic. And we had had a packed crowd in Vegas, like probably, I don't know, a small club, but maybe 150, 200 people, like, and they were going for it. We were playing with like one of the biggest local bands, and like it was a really good show.
Yeah.
And I grabbed the mic, and everyone just started fucking going, dude. And I was like, fuck it, this is the way. Just getting everyone in it, and never looked back, So
awesome, man.
That's when I really became a front man, in my opinion, was that night. Yeah. Okay. So it happened in Vegas, of all places. So
in Vegas, what happened? But you can tell that story. You can tell that story. That's one you can tell. You don't have to leave it there.
Right.
So
family friendly.
The Vengeance Collective is powerful and energetic, and your subject matter is always thought-provoking. That's my opinion. And so, who or what is the driving force for your content?
At the beginning, the very beginning, I think it was like pretty fictional. In the first demos and stuff, we had songs like Fire's Destruction and Mosh and Fire at Will, Murderer, Ghost. These are some of the very early songs. In the Asylum, like things like that. Like there's like an abduction song, like an Area 51. And it just kind of was not super serious, let's say. And then it started to become more. Our third demo is called Protocol of Lies. And Protocol of Lies is where it started to change into being like, we started to become better musicians and songwriters all the way around. Like there's a couple songs on that demo, and we're talking 96, that are pretty fucking decent. Like that I could listen to. You know, like I wouldn't be horribly embarrassed for people to know, like, this. I would consider that our first demo. You know,
yeah.
And there's a couple moments that are it's got some moments. It's got some riffs. There's some riffs there where you can tell like this band is kind of like got some shit's happening here with the puzzle.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know if I'm getting totally off the train of stuff here, but
rolling, bro.
You know, but that's kind of how that went, you know, and the lyrical matter stuff. I remember sending a demo with lyrics to my grandpa, my mom's stepdad, who passed away when I was about 19.
Yeah.
This dude was fucking cool. Grandpa Bill, the coolest fucking dude. This guy tell you all the dirty jokes. He'd sneak you a drink when you're a teenager, do all the bad shit, you know, show you a Playboys, like funny, nasty jokes all the time.
Right.
Just a good time, super positive. And he'd always be like playful, like want to always play games when we're there, always have a good time. Yeah. He's super into board games, and like the dude was super into like Civil War, and like had this like crazy collection of just like just a diehard reader. Like the guy would just read like just through a book, you know. Yeah. And just a really cool dude. But I remember sending him the demo and the lyrics, like kind of for a review, if you will, as his request.
Yeah.
And he just ripped me apart, dude. Like, was like, he's like, none of these songs have like a finality, a finality to them. Like, these songs don't end, you know, like you're letting these go to the readers to decide what happens. And like, you're not really finishing the story and stuff like that. He was just poking me. He was cool. It was like, you know, he's like, let me have it. Excuse me. And like, it was kind of like, well, it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit at first, because like, you know, you never been critiqued yet. I've never been critiqued yet as an artist at that point. So it was like, oh, it's not like the most amazing shit you've ever read, you know, seen, you know, heard. And so like, I always thought about that ever since when I'd write songs. It was like, you know, like, do I want this story to finish, or like with the end of the lyric, or do I want it to be thought provoking at the very end of like, there's a fork in the road, and like, you know, me as a listener, the reading, you know, can decide how that ends, because a lot of songs are vague in the scheme of things, and like the songs that we listen to, but and some I do both ways still, but you know, but that was something that shaped, you know, my songwriting, like at the very beginning, at least in the lyrics, the sense of the lyrics, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's and so as far as subject matter with Vengeance, like it's always kind of been like social problems,
right?
You know, like we went from that Pro Call Lies era into more like real stuff. So it was like, we're not going to sing about like anything that's like, we never were like Dungeons and Dragons and shit, but like, you know, just we weren't really trying to go like all way out there with like just fake shit. We want to talk about like things that are happening, not necessarily everything that we said that we did or whatever, but like real stuff that's happening around, that we see in the world or around our city or whatever. And, you know, we're around where we live, or, you know, those kind of environmental problems, pollution, you know, those things have become a big part of the subject matter. Of course, the band's called Vengeance, so there's a lot of revenge based things involved with that too, you know. And I have this theme kind of going where the animals kind of attack, like I showed you with the merch and stuff. But so with that, with Vengeance, it's been like that. ENDRAH, my other band's subject matter's a little different and darker, you know, in most sense. But yeah.
Oh, awesome, man.
Yeah.
So